So one of the old investors in JobSpire, he used to run a company that went door to door doing book sales, and he had more than 1,000 employees. And I once asked him, what is the secret to success? What is the secret to your success? And he looked at me in the eye and he said, look, a lot of people think my job is to come up with strategy and things like that, but it's not. I have to wake up every morning and I have one job to do. I have to call my sales team and I have to talk to the heads of the sales team and just motivate them, right? And just, put fuel in the tank. And my sales team, they need to pick up their phone, call the people that work under them, and then do the same thing until it reaches the very last employee, right? So structuring a sales team is a lot about how the ideas, the values, and the culture and the processes that exist at the top flow through to the bottom. So you have to make sure that everybody wins, but everybody's following the same process and everybody believes in the same thing. At the end of the day, a company is just a shared story that binds a lot of people together for different reasons. So in this video, I'm going to talk about how you can structure a sales team and what the norms are. Every company has slight variations, but in this video, we'll find out what the norms are. All right, structuring a sales team. What does scale mean in sales? So we've spoken about this in the product part of the series. Scale means you're getting bigger. So at scale, when you're big and you have a lot of accounts to reach, accounts are prioritized. Accounts are handled in something called a round robin method, which means that each rep that you have, say in the beginning you're one sales guy, you're doing it alone. Maybe as your company gets bigger, you have to add another sales guy. Then later you have to add a third salesperson. Then maybe you have some sort of hierarchy. One person becomes a manager and the other 2 or 3 people go below him or her, right? So round robin means that every account that the sales manager has put up, the first account goes to the first person, the first rep. The second account goes to the second rep. The third account goes to the third rep. And then the fourth account goes back to the first rep. So it's like throwing cards, right? So the first card you give to the first player, second card, second player, third card, third player, and then fourth card goes back to the first player. So that's what round robin means. And there are many lead generation sources, as we've learned in the previous episodes, and now marketing is involved. As you get bigger and bigger, even if you're a B2B company, you need to start marketing. There is clear segregation between the people who do the prospecting and the people who do the closing. So a person who does the prospecting, which is somebody who does finding the leads and then qualifying them, and the person who actually goes out and closes that lead are different people. And we'll find out why. Unless your customer relationship management game is strong, which is you have a very good CRM where you're able to move pipeline, and all your reps as well as your manager are able to see that pipeline, your reps will double contact a company, which can be a disaster. And double contact is a pretty obvious thing, right? Instead of you reach out to some company and then somebody else from your team also reaches out to that company. That's not good. That's a reputational, that damages your reputation. So in this, as you can see, on the left, there's tier 1 accounts, which are usually, when you have 100 companies you want to reach out to, maybe 10 of them are very important. High quality account that can pay you a lot of money that are very relevant. Those are your quality accounts. And I call them tier 1 accounts. The tier 2 accounts are your quantity accounts. Then the next, 50 or 60 accounts that you need to reach out to, they're just quantity. And tier 3 accounts, which are not very important, which you don't think will sell, you're going to be able to sell to easily, which you think are outside of your target market or they don't have enough money, those are experiment accounts, right? Try some account-based marketing or some new technique with them. That's how I like to segment. It's actually an old technique from John Barrows, where he segments accounts into 3 tiers, right? So this is something you can do. So what does a typical sales team look like at scale? So suppose you start getting bigger and now you have a sales team. This is how 95% of companies out there structure their sales team. So you have a vice president of sales who oversees sales across the company. And then suppose this hypothetical company has a team in Europe and has a team in Asia. So there's a Europe sales head, right? And then there's an Asia sales head. And under the Europe sales head, there's probably a sales development rep. There's probably an account executive. There's a customer success person. And there's, some inbound leads from marketing. And same on the right? As you can see in Asia, the same team structure is copied. There's a sales development rep. There's a customer success person. There's an account executive, and marketing sends you inbound leads. So I want to first talk about what a sales development rep is and who an account executive is. In most companies, and it's very simple, right? A sales development rep is somebody who does background research on a company. he or she figures out all the accounts that you need to reach out to and then qualifies those accounts. This sales development rep sends out the first touch, right? That's his or her job. Sends out the first touch, gets a response. And if he gets the response, then he or she passes on the response to the account executive. The account executive then takes the response and goes ahead, gives the client a demo, gives the prospect a demo, gives the prospect, some freebies, keeps following up with the prospect until the prospect closes, right? And these are two separate roles. Now you might ask, in the beginning, I was doing both these roles myself. Why do we need two separate roles for this? And it's very simple, right? The effort and the focus and the context it requires to find new leads and contact them is very different from the effort and focus required to close old leads. So one person finds new things, another person closes old things, right? Because if you had the person who finds new things, if you make that person close leads, then the person will shift attention away from finding new leads, right? Context switch is a big price, right? And you learn this sooner or later. If you're doing one thing and you're doing that same thing again and again and again, you get really good at it, you get fast at it. But if you're doing two things, then switching between thing one and thing two becomes painful. So you can't get fast at either. You can't get good at either of the two, right? So yeah, that's the difference between a sales development rep and an account executive. Then there's customer success, which is once a prospect has converted into a client, has started paying you, the customer success person, his or her job is to upsell something new, maybe, an upgrade to the product or some more, storage space or, making the client renew at the end of the year. So most clients pay for a year. Right? Most customers pay for a year, especially with enterprise software. Sometimes it can be 2 years or 3 years, but when the contract is, coming up again for negotiation, the customer success person, that person's job is to say, buy another year, here's a discount, whatever, engage the customer such that customer buys again. So at scale, when you get really big, what ends up happening is, maybe Asia has gotten really big. And maybe the Europe team is still small because the traction there is low in that market. And then the Asia market, the traction is high, more clients. So now you have more sales development reps. As you can see here, there are 2 sales development reps and there are 2 account executives. And now there's still 1 person for customer success because it's easy for that person to manage all this. Now, one thing I've added here is I've shown you how marketing adds in. So Europe marketing, the marketing team feeds leads from the ads or wherever to inbound leads from marketing, which then gets passed on to a sales development rep, right? The person who takes leads from marketing, qualified leads from marketing or qualifies them is the sales development rep. He's the qualifier. He or she is the qualifier. And as you can see here, because a bigger requirement is asked of Asia, the number of leads that the Asia marketing team has to bring in is much higher. And because we at Avalon, we've done this for a lot of clients in the US where we've not done sales for them, but we've given the sales team leads, right? So we've been those orange, I don't know what you call that shape, but the teardrops there that you see on the top left and the top right, we've been in that location. And when you're working with a company that has a small team in one region of the world and a big team in another region of the world, the big team obviously needs more leads. We've spent almost 80% of the marketing budget on the bigger market, right? And a lower budget on the smaller market. And it's an obvious thing, but most people think when you scale or you expand equally in all locations. That's not true, right? You expand in bursts. And this is something that you will learn, if you got into one of these, hyper growth startups. Why can't sales development reps do what account executives do? And we've had a quick chat about this, but researching and qualifying leads is a full-time process, right? Just finding out something about somebody, finding out the conversation starters, then calling that person the next day. It's a full-time process. The typical SDR, and that's sales development rep, should be able to qualify around 60 to 100 leads per day and generate 250 to 400 high-quality leads per month. Account executives close leads from SDR. So it's like a tag team game, right? So the SDR goes and says, here, tag, it's your turn now, close this person. Take the baton and run. Higher quality leads obviously have higher close rates. Account executives do demos, face-to-face meetings, and negotiation, right? They're the ones who figure out the pricing. Their job is to follow up again and again till the client closes. It takes a completely different kind of focus to generate and qualify leads compared to closing them, right? I've mentioned this before. SDRs are usually paired with AEs. So there's a sense of team bonding because this job is taxing, right? It's hard to do what SDRs do. It's also hard to do what AEs do. It's best done in 2-man teams. So in many companies, you'll find a 1:1 ratio of an SDR and an AE. And these teams are usually territorial, right? It's a North America team in North America. Like if I had 10 different sales teams and I had to reach out to India, the best way to segment them or to separate them is to have one team look at Bangalore, another team look at Delhi, another team look at Mumbai, or if I have just 4 teams, then I do north, south, west, and east, right? So they're all territorial. What leads come in? If marketing sends a lead, the first thing the sales team will look at, that lead is from Chennai. That lead is if I have 2 sales team, okay, that's a South India lead, right? So let South India take over that. So this is how you segment sales teams, location based. What is the key performance indicator for an SDR? The key performance indicator for an SDR is high quality leads per month. For an account executive, it's revenue per month, right? And that's the thing, right? You have 2 people who are working very closely together with some outcome in mind, and their KPIs are different. And that's one of the cool things about this, which is if the SDR sends higher quality leads to the AE, then there's more revenue per month. So their KPIs are actually very closely linked. They're actually directly proportional. Now, how does the commission structure work? Right? And sales reps, they make most of their money through commissions, right? So sales reps can make a lot of money because 60% of their salary is a fixed base salary and a 40% based on commission. A sales rep is given a quota, which is how much that person has to close, the target amount he or she has to close per quarter. Sales reps are given bonuses known as stretch quota if they go over their quota, right? Which is, hey, if you can hit 100% of your targets, that's great. But if you hit 120%, instead of giving you 5% commission on each sale, we'll give you 7% commission on each sale, right? So usual commissions for account executives are 1 to 15% of the annual revenue for the customer they closed, right? Anywhere between 1 to 15%. And this depends on the type of industry. At Avalon, we pay 10%. Sometimes, for smaller deals, we'll pay 5%. For SDRs, commissions are based on the number of appointments set, right? Because SDRs, they don't directly close the deal, right? Their job is just to find these prospects. It's based on the number of appointments set and a further commission based on closes. For SDRs at Avalon, we pay on average about 1,800 rupees per high quality appointment set, and sales leader rates the appointment quality. So the person, the VP of the team or the head of the team, he's the one who says that's a high quality appointment or that's a low quality appointment, right? And it's purely left to his or her judgment. And obviously, the person you have as a VP of sales needs to be a smart person who's done sales before, who can understand the difference between what a high quality lead is and a low quality lead is. In general, a low quality lead will waste your time. They will not close. They do not have the money. They're not, interested buyers. They have nothing to add to you except waste your time. And as a company, you need to survive, right? You can't do much with people wasting your time. That's not just waste your time, it also wastes your reps' time, which you're paying for. So you want to focus on the high quality leads, which are leads that have the capital, that want your product, that have good fit, that can see success out of your product, because if they don't see success out of your product, they're going to not renew the next year. So you want high quality leads. And 1.5% of the annual revenue of customers they closed. And it's here on the left, it's a cheat sheet on the left. Sales leaders and VPs are only given commissions if they hit big team targets. At Avalon, we pay bonuses to VPs if a particular team hits 2 crores, right? Our US sales team obviously got over quota faster than the India team. The market matters. So when we sell to India, when we sell marketing stuff, we sell anywhere between 1 to 3, 4 lakhs per month, right? 4 lakhs is a stretch. But in the US, 4 lakhs is a starting point for us per month. And for that obvious reason, the sales guys who sell to the US, they're better than the Indian ones, and they know this, right? So it's not like one of them is going to watch this video and be like, I'm not as good as the other person. We rank our sales reps. They already know this, and at the same time, they also end up walking away with a lot more money because they're able to hit their targets. The SDR commission, and again, this is on the left, I'm going to repeat this again. SDR commission is 1 to 15% of annual revenue per customer closed. The AE commission is a flat fee per high quality appointment set and a percentage of annual revenue per customer closed. We pay about 1.5%. The sales leader commission is a flat fee on hitting particular milestones. So 5 lakhs on 1 crore or 15 lakhs on 2 crores or 40 lakhs after reaching 3 crores. And the customer success commission, we haven't spoken about that, is usually 1 to 15% of customers that renew their purchase at the end of the year. So if a customer renews the purchase at the end of the year, the customer success commission guy, he gets his money. So as you can see there, I've shown you a sales quota attainment. It's on the top. You can see that agent 1 has been given a sales target of 25. That agent has gone over quota. That's 31 sales, which is 124%, and hit the target on June 15th. So just like this, all your sales reps need to be given targets. And surprisingly, whether you know this or not, sales reps don't need big targets. To be a company that makes $1 million, if you're selling a product worth, $10,000, your targets per month or per quarter are not that big, right? It's just each sales rep needs to close a very, very small amount of leads to be able to get there. So why is it not that hard? See, if your quota is 1.2 crores a year, say you're a sales rep and your boss came to you and he said, listen, you have to do 1.2 crores a year. And your company sells software that costs 10,000 rupees a month, which comes up to about 1.2 lakhs a year. Then you need 100 closes yearly, which is roughly about 8 closes a month, right? So you just need to close 8 closes a month to reach your quota. Assume a 80% high quality lead to close rate. And this is the standard. And this means that when SDRs come out and they find, some leads, they take the leads, they make prospects out of these leads, they reach out to these leads, and they've done all the hard work already. So the chance of that person closing now is 80%. And then they send over this lead or this prospect to the next person, which is the account executive, right? That's why they work in teams. Usually that close rate is very high. It's about 80% because the SDR has already done most of the hard work. So you just need 10 high quality prospects a month. To get 10 high quality prospects, your SDR needs to qualify 100 customers, right? Assume a 10% conversion rate. To qualify 100 customers, you need to generate 10,000 leads a month, which is 1% conversion from lead to prospect. Therefore, marketing, email teams, cold calling teams, all of that, they just have to reach 10,000 people a month. It seems easier to do, but it's not. It takes a little bit of effort, but you need to reach just 10,000 people a month. The more accurate the reach and targeting, the better the conversion rate and the less the spend. If you listen to Sales Hacker, you'll find out that most companies are very similar. Most companies, when they get to scale, all of their processes are exactly like this with minor differences. There are very few companies that are doing well that don't have a well-oiled lead generation machine. You need 10,000 leads a month. You need to find a way to continuously keep churning the leads. It's a full-time job, not just for one person, but a team of people. And then taking that lead all the way into, first making that lead a prospect by qualifying the lead, and then taking that prospect and then sending it off to the account executives, then closing that, negotiating. It's a long process, but if you have the right people and you have the time and you have the energy, anybody can make a decent amount of money, right? So sales is not that hard. It's a numbers game. All right, guys. So that's it for this episode. Catch you on the next.